This meeting is being recorded.
Brother John, if you are saying something, we are not hearing you. You're on mute.
All right. It was an audio bug. Pledge to the UNIA flag. If you would, please say along with me. I commit my body, mind, and spirit to the protection, defense, and security of the red, black, and green. I dedicate my life to the redemption of Mother Africa and the liberation of her scattered Black children. I accept for myself and my descendants the teachings of universal African nationalism. I promise that our children will be instilled with the purpose and knowledge of themselves as African people, in order that the cause of our struggle will neither falter nor fail until all Black people are free and united through one God, one aim, and one destiny. Race first. All right. Questions for lesson 20. Again, I'll have lesson 19 included next week as we finish up. First, well, any questions or comments before we start?
Just one question. So we had some pages from lesson 19 that were missing, right?
I believe it was lesson. You're right.
And the last 2 pages of lesson 20.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember the page numbers exactly. They were missing for 19, but what were there, about 4 or 5?
I'm gonna pull them up. Let's see.
Okay, so you're gonna do the questions we have first and then the reading?
Let me do the reading.
Okay.
Because it may be some questions that we hadn't read, and that would be unfair. I'm on a different laptop today. That's why everything's a little bit slower, for me at least. All right. Living for something. Okay, so we got all of Winning Mankind by Kindness, 151, 152, 153. Then lesson 20, 154, 155, 156, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61 is not there. 62 is not there. 61's so 161, 162. And I'm glad you brought that up because I was gonna ask. Um, that's one of the first things I was gonna call it a quiz, but I'm just gonna ask everybody: does everybody have a copy of the text by now? The book itself. Does everybody have a copy of it? No.
Yeah, I got one.
Does it have to be that particular version?
No, not this one particularly,
Okay.
but at
But
least a copy.
yeah, if you got a different one though, the preface is different, right? Or the forward, one of those.
Yes, yes. I think it has a preface and forwards. The other one have like introductions, things like that. But no, not necessarily this one particularly, but just a copy of the text. Lesson 1 talks about protecting our libraries. It ain't if you should have something to protect. So make sure we have a hard copy of the book so that we can refer to it when we need to. So 160, we ended. All right. I'll read last 2 pages of um, living for something, and then we'll go through the questions. And I'll start at the last paragraph on page 160. Never forget that all other groups in the society of your community are looking after their own individual group's interest. And your interest, except from the community point of view, is never theirs. Therefore, their interests should never be yours as far as the particular group's interests are concerned. Don't be disappointed if other people shock you by their behavior because man is made that way. He acts that way chiefly because he is racially different. The white man may compliment you today and abuse you tomorrow simply because of your race. Don't trust the whole community then if it is made up of different groups, because it is apt to disappoint you by being selfish at any moment as far as the division of particular interests is concerned. Always pick out your interest in the community and conserve it because others are doing the same. It is only when you tread on the heels of others by accident that you will find out that there are differences between you and others. Your mistake doesn't prove a fact. The fact was there before your mistake. It is always a fact that each group has its own individual and collective racial problems. The white man can never be a Negro, and the Negro can never be a white man except after eternity. And you do not live that long. You may be the same in soul, but you cannot see a soul, so the similarity is beyond you. What you see is yourself physically, and there is no doubt that there are physical differences between you and the other man. So watch your step in the social confusion of life. Always remember that another person is not you, for that other person knows too well that you are different from him. He is always on guard to divide the line of interests. This applies everywhere, all around, in your home, office, workshop, in the street, and in the community. Your wife will grab the article and say, this is mine," and refuse to give it up, you were one although you thought you were one and what was yours was hers and hers yours. She always has a time to claim her own, either in peace or confusion. So always have your own in the social confusion of life, because even you and your partner may have to run in different directions to save your skins. If a person is gone with what is yours in another direction, you may lose your life following what you should have been carrying with you. Never forget this. It is of great importance to you for your own safety. You should always have your own fare to pay the conductor. You may have to walk while the other person rides because you can never tell where confusion will spring up. It may be in the street near the neighborhood. It may be 100 miles from town. It will be a long walk if the car moves off because the confusion between you and the driver. Always expect confusion in the dividing line in social contact of life.
Hello? I can't hear nobody. Anybody still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I can't hear anybody either.
Oh, okay. All right. Brother John,
You know, it looks like you might be frozen.
yes, it does. Yeah, I think he froze.
All right, if you can hear us, Brother John, we cannot hear you. This different computer is having technical difficulties.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that. Got a new computer, I guess it went out on it.
Well, while we're waiting, greetings, Brother Bruce. I don't think I spoke to you. And Sister Marvia.
Hi, Sister Brenda and everyone else. How are you?
Well, did you all have the fundraiser Saturday?
Yes, I think so. Unfortunately, I couldn't attend, but
Oh,
I saw pictures and it seemed as if it was very successful.
oh, good, good.
How's everybody doing today?
Good, thank you. And you, brother?
All right, all right. Doing pretty good. Enjoying the weather now. It's getting a little warmer outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is, man. That was
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Even
Oh.
here
It's
it
supposed
was
to be 50
nice.
tomorrow.
Chicago was nice, not windy?
It was a little windy and it's raining now, so the temperatures are dropping, but it was almost 60 degrees here in Chicago today, so it was nice.
Okay, good.
I know it's not like Atlanta or I don't know, what's Ohio like? And I like New York.
It's raining just like it is over there.
Oh, okay.
You heard about that railroad derailment about a week ago, right? Right here.
Yeah, I did.
Well, they had some polyhydroxide or something like that.
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah. So it's raining. They said it when it mixes with water, it turns into acid rain. I'm just praying that
Wow.
it dissipated.
Wow.
Wow, golly.
Yeah.
Okay, it looks like Brother John is logging in again on a different
Yeah.
device.
Yeah. But no, it's just saying it's a different device.
We can hear you now, Brother John.
Okay. Y'all know what I gotta do the whole thing over, huh?
Yeah, you froze. We didn't hear anything.
All right.
We heard all the way to you. You finished the last paragraph. The last paragraph for what you was reading on lesson
The first
22.
page, that's it.
No, you finished. You finished
Finished.
20. You
And then
finished
it just
20.
blanked out.
You read.
Oh,
We
okay.
heard you all the way to the last sentence on 20.
Yep.
Yeah, we heard you to the last sentence on 162.
This thing keeps turning off the mic. I guess, okay, I'm still screen sharing the right thing.
Yes.
First, what is the purpose of life? Y'all there?
We're here. We just don't know the answer.
Oh,
I'm joking. I'm joking. Well, maybe I'm not.
that's an important question.
It is. I have an answer, but I don't like my answer. So
Is it from the book or is it just something you came up with?
yeah, I didn't really see the answer in the book. So it's from the book.
What you got?
Sister Marvia has,
Yeah,
you ready, Sister Marvia? You got the answer for this one?
I am saying the second sentence in the first paragraph.
What's that? We got to be confident.
It was given for the purpose of expression.
Yeah, that's what I like too.
That's what I've got as well.
Okay.
Expression. I argue this in my mind because I know modern day we talk about some, the number one rule in life is self-preservation or something. So in my mind, in questioning, I added survival and recreation. But as Garvey says, purpose of life is for expression, and he elaborates on it in the later reading.
Even
Any
there,
questions, comments?
expressing himself according to the idealistic visions of his nature, whatever that means.
Yes, yes, and we'll get into that. And I really like this lesson amongst others, but it's a great title, and I like the way Garvey views it and gives an answer to that question: what are we living for? How does a person find their purpose? How do you find your purpose? If a young person want to know how they find their purpose,
They have to search themselves, search yourself, and with knowledge of what is good and what is bad, select your course, steering towards the object of your dream or desire.
yes. But the previous lessons talks about your heart being in a line with your mind. So search yourself, try different things, and as you walk, some things you'll be more attracted to, some things you'll be uh, away from, averse to. So trust yourself, trust what you're doing, continue to walk your path, and you'll find your purpose. Questions, comments? Oh, this is too far. Yeah. What should we never enter life's journey without? What should we always have in life's journey?
He says a program.
Yes. What does he mean by that?
A plan or an action plan.
Yes.
positive destination beforehand.
Destination beforehand. And that brings us to the next question. What is the analogy that Garvey used for life without a program? What are we like? If you're in life and you don't have a program, what is he compared to?
A ship.
What kind of ship?
A ship without a destination
captain?
beforehand,
Yeah, I was gonna say
or without
destination or
direction.
sail. A ship without a sail.
A ship without
But
a
yes,
sail.
without a clear destination. He talked about knowing, as you get on a ship, you know what port you're aiming for. You're not just out, letting the wind control your destination. So, life without a program is like being in the ocean on a ship without a sail. Just hoping for the best. Number 5. Finish this quote. If a thing is worth doing, how should it be done?
To the best of one's ability.
If a thing is worth doing, it should be done to the yes. But yeah, I think. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I do
I
too.
think I already said it's worth doing well. It says if a thing is worth doing, it's worth doing it well. And I put living a life, but in the reading, that's what this lesson is about. The purpose of life. So Garvey is saying if we're going to live life, then we should live life well.
Yeah, I have a question about that. Because
Go ahead.
well can be relative, isn't it?
It can be relative, yes. I mean, but where are you going?
I am just saying
It should be
my
excellently.
well.
It should be perfectly.
Pardon?
You feel like well is a low bar or something?
No, I'm just saying well can differ from individuals, from one individual to the next. Want my well, doing it well, like I was talking to my husband and he was saying, your standards are way out there. And I am saying, no, it's not. So his well and my well in certain things are different.
Yes.
So I am thinking that it's relative.
Yeah.
And it differs from one person to the next.
And I think it should be relative, because I think Brother Art said at first, if you're doing it to the best of your
That's your ability.
Yeah. Right? Our abilities may be different. So if we're doing to the best of our ability, what my ability to do may not approach what your ability to do is, but I've done it well for me. I've done it the best I can do. So I think it should be relative.
It should be relative, but in an organization, do you think it should be clearly defined? For example, if we're doing something that's worth doing, do it well. It should be clearly defined, right?
Well, I would argue no.
I would too. I would say no.
It's still subjective to the individual.
Right. It's personal responsibility.
I would relate this to, the question 2, how do we find purpose? Search yourself with the knowledge of what is good and bad. Like how we define things that are good and bad relates to, well and unwell of doing things. So some things will be subjective, but we're supposed to encourage individuals to lean on what they know to be right and good.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. but yeah, everyone's well is different. You know, your well, my well may be different things.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as we're striving for what we know to be good, and you know, previous lessons, you know, we still have to rely on previous lessons. I would point to Christ, character, personality. We have, you know, a certain bar to set ourselves to when it comes to behavior, character, and how we act in public, or who we are as individuals.
Okay,
So
thanks.
don't let your well run dry. All right, next question. If you want to be somewhere in December, when should you start planning? If you want to be somewhere by the end of the year, when should you start planning? At the latest.
Yeah, we're already too late, huh?
It depends on what you're talking about.
Yeah, we're planning for December. It's February. We missed it.
So what's your answer, Secretary General, since you played around?
Think ahead. You should start in January.
Yes. Yes. So at least a year in advance. You know, we do high executive council every year, convention every year. We should be planning for these type of things, you know, 12 months in advance. Any questions, comments on a year in advance planning? But it goes to, you know, having a program, knowing where you want to be, where you want to go, you know, having goals and being true to those goals. All right. Number 7. What does it mean to live for something? What does Garvey say that it means to live for something?
I think it means, I think what he meant by that is to live for others and yourself.
Live for others and yourself.
Mm-hmm. To make others a part of your living.
Make others a part of your living.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
Mm.
Live for others and yourself. Make others a part of your living.
I
Well,
agree with Marvin. Brother
live,
Art,
for, live for others, your community, and your race.
Mm,
For others, your community, and your race. Yes, yes.
okay.
and your family
And your family.
or your kin, your family.
Yes. And your race. Yeah.
What was all right, let me see how much I got on the answer. Yeah, I got a lot on the answer.
You
Well,
got a
I'll
lot.
just
We said a lot.
yeah, but there's another aspect to it that wasn't
What does it mean to me?
highlighted.
Really?
Yes.
Is it on
Your
page
kith and kin, your
156?
race, others, your community. Say again.
Is it on page 156?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, yourself, your community, your kin, and something for your race. And your race. I think they said everything I read, but let me go back.
Should I
Does it have
go to the answer?
something to do with social and economic conditions, improving that? Or that would be an example of living for your race and your.
Yes, that is part of it, but y'all may have mentioned it in general, but Garvey lists those few things that we talked about kind of in the first 2 or 3 lines, but then he spends the rest of the paragraph talking about something else, like the application of it.
Mm. For your kiss.
Uh,
I've never heard that. That's very
to,
British, isn't it?
to
Kiss and kin.
Making
What does it mean to live for
sacrifices.
something? Live for your kith and kin, live for your community, live for others besides yourself.
Yeah.
Also making sacrifices.
Making sacrifices.
Making sacrifices. Yeah.
okay, give us the answer.
It's the aspect of finishing the job or continuing the work. Doesn't only mean for yourself,
Oh
but
yeah,
some of your
yeah.
kith and kin and something for your, well, that's still the same thing.
Yeah.
But in the paragraph, he says, and I can go to the book better.
Yeah.
He talks about the relationship of a father.
Mm-hmm.
Right, for
Yeah.
the son, the grandson.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, that would
Yes.
be kin, and then kith would be the community.
Kiss with the community. Okay.
But let me
Is the place,
it
kith
says,
is the place you know. It's the community.
Okay.
So
but he says, we're talking about living for something. He says if a father lives for something, he
Mhm.
ought to be able to see his children through that
Mhm.
something, so that what he does not accomplish for himself
Yeah.
might be accomplished for his children.
Yes.
For instance, an industrious father lives with the hope of improving his social and economic condition. He would like to live in a beautiful mansion on the hill from which he can see the country places around, the valleys, the dales, the lofty mountains. But he is working in the valley, living in a small cottage. Is growing older without his dream realized, but he looks to his son and says, if I cannot enjoy this desire of mine because I may be too old, when the time comes, I shall make it possible for my son or grandson to live on that hilltop. That is living in the future. That is living for something. When the old man dies, the son inherits what and when the
Son
son
died.
dies, the son inherits what? That which the grandfather lived for. So the inheritance, finishing the job, having a purpose beyond one lifetime. I would, those
Yeah.
those aspects. And I guess if you're saying kith and kin kind of sums those up, I didn't take it that way. That's all. Any questions, comments on that? And was I sharing? It
you're
wasn't
sharing.
sharing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess it's something, it's building an empire. I think it sounds that way, like in some races, that's what they do.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Pass
It's
from one
one
to
of,
the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And before you know it, it's an empire that they're building. Yeah.
and that's how I try to think about this. One of my favorite words that Garvey uses is progeny, but
Yes.
it's not just about us, but it's about those that come after us. And we're trying to create a legacy that, our children and grandchildren can be proud of, or be part. We're not creating, we're just being part of and continuing a legacy that Garvey and our ancestors created, but that, our race can be proud of globally.
Yes.
Yeah, I see
Living
that.
for something.
I thought that fell under sacrifice too, though.
Yes, it comes with sacrifice for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of what I would consider general things, that we can talk about that apply to living for something. A lot of people sacrifice, on a daily basis. But are we sacrificing with the mindset of, what
Accomplishment.
the
Yeah,
benefit of our race in the long term?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Any questions, comments before we continue?
I think the answer that you showed and that we gave encompasses all that you're saying.
Okay. Okay.
Because it talks about the kin, and so that's generational or could be generational. And then for our race, that's definitely not just talking about now, but in the future.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. I wouldn't argue. Any other questions?
Mhm.
Mm-mm.
Okay, next question. What should be the policy of every Negro according to Garvey? I don't remember the answer to this one.
That's what you just said. To live for something to hand down to a son or a grandson.
Live for something to hand down to a son or grandson. Okay. That's on 157, it looks like. Okay.
I can't read what I wrote so that they may have. Yeah, I don't know what I said.
But yeah, it's on 156, bottom 156, top of 157. Oh, he says it. Okay, the next paragraph, he said, this should be the policy of every Negro to live for something to hand down to a son or grandson so that they may have life a little easier than the fathers before them. So that should be the policy of every one of our people, trying to make things easier for the next generation.
Okay, so that says easier. Okay.
Okay. What is the result of things that Garvey considered a waste of time? What would be the result of doing those things? Oh, I think I know this now. Okay. And again, this lesson is titled Living for Something. And he's saying, what is the result if we do things that are considered a waste of time too much?
Purposelessness. Is there
What's
such
that?
a word?
Yeah, purposeless.
What?
Purposeless.
What's that?
I don't know if it's a word. Purposelessness.
Purposeless. Yeah,
Purposeless.
purposeless. What? What do you mean purposeless?
No, she said purposelessness.
Yes,
I think it's a word.
it is a word. Okay.
It's a word.
The result of doing things that are considered a waste of time is purposelessness.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's nothing to achieve by doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing to achieve. Let me see.
Nothing accomplished, nothing achieved. Yes.
I felt like he said like a wasted life. No great fortune is guaranteed. No great art is accomplished. No structure is built. Is a game of chance when we do things that are considered a waste of time. I thought that was okay. Okay. Any questions, comments on that? To waste time and non-essentials. To be purposeless. Yep, purposelessness. Always have a purpose. Okay. What should we be if we have no purpose in life? What is the alternative to having no purpose in life?
You know, I misread this question at first, and my first answer is wrong, but I read it as, what would we be if we had no purpose in life? And I said lazy and broke. And then I read it again. I said, oh, that's not the answer. That's not the question.
What would
If we have, what does Garvey? I think he says it's better to be this than to have no purpose in life.
dead?
Yep, dead.
Dead. Yes.
But you're right. Isn't that true too, Sister Brenda?
Yeah.
We're lazy.
we don't have any purpose. We're lazy and we're broke.
That's
Said
right.
it's better that you be dead than to have no purpose in life. So this is Garvey's opinions, Garvey's words. Take it how you want, but we should know this information and know his opinion. So Any questions, comments on that one?
No, when I reread it, I came up with that answer.
Okay. But yeah, it's about living for something, having a purpose, and at the end of the day, we're all representatives of the race. So if we're not gonna have a purpose, Garvey says it's better that we be dead. I think in one of his famous speeches, he said, if we can't do what other races have done, what other men have done, we might as well die. So it's yeah. Okay. What happens when we see beauty through the eyes of the Anglo-Saxon instead of the eyes of the Negro?
Wow. Mm.
Still perm my hair. What happens when we see beauty through the eyes
Who
of the
said that?
Anglo-Saxon?
Wait, who said that?
He ain't say it loud, so I'm not gonna put him on the spot.
Oh, dear.
Oh, yeah. Well, what
It
happens?
says,
So many things happened. So many things.
It says when the Negro attempts to see beauty through the equal features of the Anglo-Saxon, then he images the homelessness and ugliness of his own features because his features are different from those of the Anglo-Saxon.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yes,
said when we look in the mirror and we looking at the white man as a reflection of ourselves, we see ourselves as being less than what they are because we find their beauty to be better than ours. Something to that effect.
Yes.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
We shouldn't do that. That's bad.
But
I understood that. That's very bad.
that's what I was saying earlier. Like, having a definition of what is good and bad is different for people. But we have to have our own definitions of what's good, what's beautiful, and what is not beautiful. So, all right. Any questions, comments on that? Anybody else want to say anything?
We see it all around us,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah. Garvey was ahead of his time, like when we look at the doll factory and the doll studies that they did years later. Garvey did, Garvey and our ancestors, they did their job. It's up to us to finish the work and do our job in our time. But yeah, he's definitely ahead of his time.
Way ahead.
What are we doing when we are wasting time running around helping other people with their problems?
Hmm.
When we're running around helping other people with their problems, what are we doing? Probably should have worded it that way.
Running around helping other people with their problems.
We're not spending time on our own problems.
Yeah.
It's more severe than that.
We're robbing.
Just imagine charity. When we do charity, if we do charity with other entities, what are we doing to our own people?
We're robbing them of the resources that we could use.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
We're robbing our race of the time to solve our problems. Race first, charity begins at home. Us running around doing everything for everybody else. Garvey, I think what he says something, we'll get to that when we get our people straight and together, so us doing that at this time, Garvey considers that robbing your race of the time that we could be spending solving our own problems.
Okay.
Any questions, comments?
Okay. No, got it.
Last question. Why did it go way down there? Let's see. We must never forget that all other groups in the society or of the community are looking after what? What are all other groups in the society looking after?
Themselves, their race.
Their own individual group interest.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So as long as we're divided amongst our communities, we're coming in as, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 individuals, with separate ideas and separate agendas, we will always lose, to these organized powers. Even if it's a group of 5 or 6 individuals that sit upon a board, if they have the same mentality, those 6 will overpower. 6 together will overpower, 10 that are not organized, that are individual. So we got to understand that everybody is looking after their own group interests. And we as Garveyites in our time, it's our responsibility to organize our people and make sure, we have the most substantial voice when it comes to, political power for our people. So questions, comments on any of these questions for lesson 20?
Yes, I had a comment.
Go ahead.
This brings me back a couple years back. There was a lady, and I thought it was kind of funny at first, and I really didn't understand it. But she said basically that if there was a homeless black man that was on drugs, alcohol, or whatever, and there was a homeless, to be honest with you, she said a homeless white lady with a baby and everything, and she had $5 to give, and she had an extra dollar, that homeless black man would get those $6 over that white lady with that baby, a newborn baby. And I mean, it was kind of harsh. I mean, the way she said it. I mean, I got the clip when she said it. I have the actual clip, but it was kind of harsh. But then I actually realized she was basically saying race first, no matter what. So
Yeah, charity begins at home.
at home,
We have a heart to do for other people and to help other groups, and we will do that. But let's get our people together first. I think that's the sentiment. Any other questions? Is it sharing the right thing? Share this tab. All right, Brother Macy's, are you with us? Oh man, Brother Macy's not here.
Oh, Brother Macy has lost his phone. I don't know if that's what he used to join the meeting.
I'm sure he did. All right.
I'll read it, but y'all work with me.
I know we left off on a part that didn't have, that wasn't printed. So I'm going to do that part and then you can finish. Why does this look like this has it though now? 72, because I could have sworn it was like 71, 72.
My copy doesn't have the page numbers, and I've been struggling with that the whole lesson. So we're going to lesson 21, right?
We're halfway through lesson. Well, we're not halfway, but we're into lesson 21. I remember we have read how to teach the UNIA preamble. I remember talking about that. Talked about UNIA and ACL, and ACL being the business part. No private individuals. I remember that. Subordinate companies of business.
Yeah, okay, I remember that.
Members divided into two kinds, active and non-active. I'll read, let me see. I'm gonna start at page 168. Yeah. All right. Let me start at the bottom of 167. Always to give a receipt for money received in connection with the UNIA. Always keep proper records and always have a duplicate for your protection. If you receive, let me just make this zoom real quick. Yeah. If you receive money from the people in the name of the organization and do not give a receipt, you can bet they will investigate for the purpose of trapping you, and then your name will be dead if there is any delinquency. When you attend a meeting of the UNIA as a representative and you are to receive money for the parent body, always let that money be received first on the records of the local division through its officers from whom you are raising it for the parent body for the particular purpose, so that when an account is to be made, the local records will support your report to the parent body. When you visit a division of the organization as an official representative of the parent body, you are then the superior officer. You shall then see that all things are conducted in the proper way in your presence in accordance with the Constitution. When visiting a division, always make your visit profitable both to the division and to the parent body. Never create a loss or tax on the local division by your visit. Every visit you make to a division should be an opportunity for you to enroll new members for that division and to increase the enthusiasm of the local members for the organization. In planning a visit to a division, whether it is regular visit or otherwise, always inform the president and the secretary respectively and get them to make the necessary local announcements so as to give you an extraordinary attendance of people and members so that you may have an opportunity to increase the local membership. If your visits are always an asset to the division, they will always invite you outside of your regular visitations to come among them. The expense of your trip should be well figured out before you make it. Railroad fare to and fro or bus fare to and fro, accommodations, etc. Hence, you should see that the meetings are worked up to such magnitude so that when they are held, they will cover the expenses. When you visit a division in your territory, your financial record should not be only from the division, but you should seek to use the time that you are in the community to get support from individuals and to do work for the association, thereby killing two birds with the same stone. You should always observe the proper opening and closing a meeting, as well as the proper form conducting the meeting of the association. They are as follows. Number one is the opening hymn from Greenland's Icy Mountains. We haven't done that. I don't think I've ever seen that personally, but it's something we should look into and be aware of. Number two, reading of the prayers in the ritual or hymn sheet of the association. When your program is not too crowded and the time for meeting is lengthy, you may go through the whole form of prayers. If there is not sufficient time, read only such parts of the prayers as would enable you to go through the program without length. After the prayer, sing either Shine On Eternal Light or O African Awaken, and then go into the rest of the program. When you are closing the program, close with the prayers of the association for the purpose and sing the African national anthem. Currently, we do obviously the pledge to the UNIA flag, Ethiopia, land of our fathers, and One God, One Aim is a big closing. Sometimes we'll sing Ethiopian national anthem when we come together at large events like convention. But I think the sentiment is, and we try to make sure we do this, like spaces like this are sacred spaces for our people. And, you know, these sacred spaces have to be maintained through certain rituals. So in order to officially open up and officially call it, you know, a UNIA meeting for us, you know, there must be a national anthem or a pledge to the flag, or at the very least, the motto, quoting of the motto. but yeah, I think that's the sentiment, is making sure we honor and respect our sacred spaces and our rituals. Whenever your object is to raise financial assistance or collection for the parent body or for the local division, let the raising of the same come in the middle of the program after your most emphatic speech of the day is delivered, whether it is delivered by yourself or somebody else. If you have things to dispose of for the organization or other help to get, this must come after the main collection. If you are the person appealing for the collection, you must do so with steady emphasis and a properly worded appeal. This must never be done half-heartedly, because it will bring half-hearted results. I hit the wrong button. Half-hearted results. If you have raised a collection for the parent body at a meeting, see to it that it is properly accounted for after it is taken up. Make sure that it is not mixed up with the funds of the local division. Wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. It's repeating a little bit, but this means that it's important to make sure our funds are correct. When visiting a division, you are always the guest of that division. The president presides and then introduces you. If it is a special business meeting where you have been called in to regulate the affairs of the division, you will take the chair as a representative of the parent body and conduct the meeting accordingly and restore order, and then hand the meeting back to the president of the responsible officer of the division. When a president has been removed and you have been called in, you may appoint someone temporarily, such as the vice president, to act until you have reported the matter to the parent body, and the parent body carries out an appointment. If there happen to be factions in a division and you are called in to straighten out the affairs, never take up the residence at the home of either side. Seek independent lodging until you have disposed of the matter. Otherwise, you will have the prejudice against you for taking sides. Never listen to one side without hearing the other side. Never give a decision on one side without hearing the other side. Brother Art, did you want to read?
Yeah, I'll read. Always try to pacify, always try to bring factions together in keeping with the principles of the association. Always try to compromise the factions towards keeping the peace. Whenever you make your official visit to the division as a representative of the parent body, always call for the records. Go through them and see that they are properly kept, and then make a report to the parent body. Whenever you see mistakes that can be corrected, see that they are corrected. Don't allow them to continue. Never allow any division to have individuals owning the property of the division in their names, except for in cases where proper documents have been passed, where the organization is not registered as between the person and the organization, showing that they are the only holding such in trust for the organization. But this should all be discouraged and immediate steps taken to register the organization in the particular state or community so that its property may be held in its name. When property is bought in the name of the organization name must be mentioned, and only the names of the officers of the organization at the time must appear as officers, not as individuals. For instance, Brooklyn Division of UNIA, John Brown, President, Henry Jones, Secretary. In the law, names are taken as officers of the organization. Hence, the individuals can make no separate claim on the property as individuals. Should they not continue as officers of the organization, those who then become officers of the organization would have their names substituted as officers. This would not affect the ownership of the property by the organization. Pay careful attention to this so that the association may not be defrauded of its property or its rights. Always look out for self-seeking officers and individuals in a division. See to it that they do nothing detrimental to the interests of the organization. Always confine yourself to your own designated territory and never go beyond it, except when authorized to do so. Always respect the charter rights of every division, chapter, branch, affiliated organization. Never use one against the other as long as they are chartered. Have no favorite division except for the one that you may be a member of. Always hold an even balance. Always encourage cooperation between the two divisions. If a member cannot get along with one division before his membership is lost, advise him to join another. Wherever there is no divisions or chapters, there are Negroes in the community. Encourage the organization of a branch, chapter, or a division. Over 1,000 Negroes in the community ought to have a division or a chapter. So in a community where you have 200,000 Negroes, you may have many divisions, according to the district and location. All 200,000 of those Negroes should belong to one or two divisions. You should approach ministers of the gospel in this community and ask them to organize chapters in their churches, of which they will be the presidents, so as to get their church members to be UNIA members. Do the same with lodges and fraternities. They can also be chapters of the UNIA, even though they are independent lodges and fraternities. Arguments for the Constitution. Hold
on one second. Let's
okay.
make sure. I could have sworn this wasn't there. Okay, 172 to 173. All right, go ahead, brother.
Okay, arguments for the continuation, perpetuation, and support of the UNIA. UNIA has worked from 1917 to 1937. The UNIA.
Hold on, brother.
All right.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay, the UNIA has stirred the entire world of Negroes to a consciousness of race pride, which never existed before. The UNIA broke down the barriers of racial nationality among Negroes and caused American, African, West Indian, Canadian, Australian, South and Central American Negroes to realize that they have a common interest. The UNIA has given Negroes throughout the world a program of racial nationalism, which never existed before. The association caused all Negroes to recognize their common origin as Africans and their African descent. It has caused all other races to recognize the national aspirations of the Negro. It placed the Negroes' cause before the League of Nations and the Versailles Peace Conference. It placed the national aspirations of the Negro before the Disarmament Conference in Washington in 1924. The UNIA caused the French, the English, and the European governments with colonies in Africa and the West Indies to extend greater privileges to the native race and to offer them more secure positions in the respective civil service, diplomatic service, and political life of the country. Negro justices, magistrates, and heads of government departments were appointed because of the activities of the UNIA in different countries. The economic status of Negroes was raised in different countries because of the association. The association taught the Negro how to go into big business. It taught the Negro how to secure his own business enterprises through which tens of thousands of Negro businesses have been started all over the world. It taught Negroes how to support their own professional men, doctors, lawyers, etc. And the UNIA taught the Negro how to support his own church. It taught the Negro how to use his political power from which he benefited in the United States, the West Indies, Africa, and other countries. The UNIA gave the Negro a national flag and a national hymn. It caused the other races to spell the word Negro with a capital N. It taught Negroes self-respect for their race. It brought courage to the Negro race throughout the world. It caused the Negro to search for a new type of leadership. It taught the Negro preparedness against adversity. It became the most outstanding Negro organization throughout the world. It is the most recognized international organization among Negroes. It is known in all parts of the world. It has taught the Negro to follow only Negro leadership. It has saved the Negro from the hypocritical, dishonest leadership of other peoples, which has never brought the Negro any good results. It taught the Negro that the cats don't lead rats, nor the lions the sheep, nor the wolves the foxes. And so Negroes should lead Negroes. The UNIA has taught the Negro to never rely upon the sweet-sounding words and promises of others, but to rely on his own words and his own promises if he is to be led safely. It has taught the Negro to believe in himself and not to believe that what other man seeks for himself, he is going to give away freely. It has taught the Negro to save his own labor organizations and not to expect other laborers who are competing with him for the same employment, to give honest leadership for him to compete them for the same job. It is the only organization that has given the Negro an international outlook. It gave the Negro press and broader point of view. It has kept the Negro from going red in the conveniences of others. 20 years, the UNIA gave or changed the attitude of the Negro and set him on the way to a new hope. One of the fundamental desires of the UNIA is to approach every Negro with the attitude of friendship, brotherhood, and sympathy. Therefore, every representative of the organization must adopt an attitude that works to bring the realization of such a desire. It may be necessary to use a great amount of tolerance to reach the desired end, but whatever is necessary must be done to bring about such a state of affairs. The policy is that you cannot drive a Negro away from the organization and still want to organize with all the Negroes. Every Negro that is lost prevents the ultimate achievement of the aims of the organization. So never try to drive a member out of the organization, hold him and convert him. Always appreciate the fact that the majority of Negroes are ignorant. And you must exercise a great amount of tolerance to educate them to your point of view. This is your missionary work. As other people are willing to sacrifice their time and even their lives to Christianize our race, so we must exercise patience and time to civilize our people. The attitude of expelling members and suspending members is not accepted with good grace and should be restored to only under the most extreme circumstances. The attitude should be adopted to find an alternative to expulsion. The best way to prevent dissatisfaction in a division is to live up to the Constitution and bylaws, because it is only with the Constitution and bylaws that you can discipline a member. If a member violates the Constitution and bylaws, you can reasonably draw the violation to his or her attention. You cannot show partiality in a division of the association or in the work of the association. You must be impartial to maintain the principles of the association as the attraction for those who do not know anything about the association. Never cease in your efforts to influence a Negro to join the association until he has joined. So long as he stays out of the UNIA, the work of uniting all Negroes cannot be accomplished. Always remember that you are a missionary for the cause of the association. So lose no opportunity that may present itself to make converts for the association. A splendid way to proselyting, I don't know that word, man,
Proselyting.
proselyting for the association of the is to interest all your friends and acquaintances in its movement. Whenever you go among them, tell them of anything done and accomplished by the association. Always find some work for the association. During the time you are not actually attending a meeting of the association or doing any special work for the association, devote your time to calling upon your acquaintances in the neighborhood, in your community, to talk to them into becoming members and supporters of the association. You should know all the people of your race on your street, in your neighborhood, in your town. Approach them in your leisure hours, one by one. Convert them to the organization and to get support from them for the organization. Where you become across responsible people of the race, take their names, professions, addresses, after talking to them about the association, and send them the same in a weekly report or a monthly report to the President General's office at headquarters. Ask the President General to communicate with these persons in the manner you think would be best to help clinch the support of these persons for the organization. In your own town, secure the names, addresses, professions, and all of the responsible people, doctors, lawyers, merchants, preachers, etc. Send these names to headquarters with comments about each person for headquarters to help influence these persons to support the organization. Always keep in touch with the newspapers published in your community. Get the newspaper publishers to print favorable news about the activities of the organization. That's hard to do today. You got to use the internet. See to it that every intelligent person in the community of the race subscribes to or purchases the Black Man so that they may keep up with the activities of the movement. Read the Black Man regularly yourself so that others will not have information you have not got. When you attend meetings of a division as an official, Always carry yourself with dignity and always be impartial in dealing with the affairs of the division. If you take sides not based on constitution, you are only destroying your own usefulness in the division and to the parent body. Your honor must always be uppermost in dealing with the matters affecting the division when you visit them. If you are an official of the parent body, always see that the dignity of the parent body is maintained through you. Any bad behavior on your part will reflect upon the judgment of the parent body in appointing you. If you are a representative of the parent body with proper credentials, you must observe and in agreement entered into between you and the parent body for dealing with the affairs of the association. Any violation of the agreement may cause you to lose your office as a representative of the parent body. Never overstep your authority in dealing with the division as a representative of the parent body. Never attempt to show your grand superiority to the displeasure of the members of the division or officers of the division. Be as modest yet as firm as you can in your dealings. Nothing invites antagonism more than an arrogant and unresponsible display of power. The most powerful people in the world are the most modest when dealing with those whose goodwill they depend on. They know how much immodesty offends others. Never try to be offensive. Never threaten others, but reason with them. To threaten an officer or a member is to invite antagonism and belligerence, which will make your task more difficult. Never enter into any unworthy arrangements with officers or members of the division, because ultimately they will expose you, and when you do not do things to suit them, the moment you enter into dishonorable agreements, the person you have done so with holds it as a club over your head and will place you in a false position. In order not to expose yourself, don't do it. When working as a representative in the community to get results for the association, you should divide the community into zones or districts. You may even reduce the districts to streets or blocks of streets and appoint some representative and enthusiastic member in that zone, district or street, to be kind of captain or lieutenant to keep the spirit of the people in the area regulated to the principles of the organization. The captain or lieutenant must be an active member of the division. Since he lives on the street, he would likely know all the people on the street and could help greatly in organizing them as members of the organization. Your chief aim must be to organize every man, woman, and child. If they all this material and possibilities, you cannot make the UNIA succeed in that community, you yourself are a colossal failure and not the people. The greatest recognition of your merit and ability will be reflected by the number of people who are members of the association in your community, district, town, or state. The activities will testify to your greater activity in their midst. You should not expect promotion from the parent body except if you have something to recommend you in your community for such promotion. Otherwise, your promotion will be fair to someone else who has done his or her work. Don't complain, do the job, get results. The moment you start to complain, you are stating that the thing cannot be done. If you cannot do it at one place, you cannot do it at another. You are a failure. You are no good. Let your pride be of winning over an adversary. It gives good satisfaction. You have enough material in the UNIA to use as an argument against any man who is a member of the race, caring not how to destructive he is. Therefore, don't let him until you have converted him. Talk him out in this respect. Bring all of your diplomacy to bear. Use all the experience you have had in dealing with men and enlarge on and explain every good point of the UNIA. Carry your constitution and read the preamble and the aims and objects to him. Explain them as you have taught them. And when he makes up his mind to join, get him right there. If you have approached him to become a member, let him join then. If you have approached him for support, get him to write or give his support right there. Afterwards, immediately thank him by correspondence for joining or supporting to give him an impression of your business-like ability. The best time to call on people is immediately after meals, not before, because when people are hungry, they are not in a good mood. Call immediately after the breakfast hour, the dinner hour, or the supper hour. Oh man, I lost it. If you are calling at the office, never call an hour before lunch or an hour before dinner. Always go smiling and pleasant. Don't carry a long face. If you have been abruptly received and abruptly talked to, reply to the pleasant remarks and smile your subject into changing his or her mood. Even a savage will admit defeat when they meet a smile. If a person has a frown on his face, say, "I hope you are well, Mr. Jones." That will put him off guard immediately. If he states that he is not well, sympathize with him and tell him about some remedy you know.
Brother Art.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just acknowledge the time. It's 9:37. We were supposed to stop at 9:35. If you would finish this page, and we will finish up next week.
Okay. This is the good psychology to win your subject. Or you may say, "You have a very pretty picture here, Mr. Jones," or some other thing. Though not pretty to flatter his vanity, but to take him out of his sullen mood. I'll stop right there and last couple of words, the last sentence we can do next week.
No. I wanted to finish this page.
Okay, my page, I'm finished. Well, if he
I got it. If he is a smoker, offer him a cigarette. Tell him something that you think he ought to be interested in. You may hit upon something by looking at the things around him. Have you ever seen the latest picture? Have you heard the latest news? Then go into your subject after you have changed his attitude. Don't start talking to a sullen man on the subject you're approaching him on until you have won him over to a pleasant mood. It would be better to go back and visit him a second time. Always point out to him that the UNIA acts as a trustee for the race. Help him to understand that every Negro benefits from the success of the organization. In arguing for support for the UNIA, draw extensively upon your imagination and find an argument to support you. You have the argument of the success of a nation, the success of other race groups and always use the Jew as an argument. Among the first persons to be approached for help for the UNIA are professional and businessmen and women of the race. A better organized race will mean better business for them. Tell them that tell them that that is the work of the UNIA. Therefore, they should support it. Let them realize the power you have in your hand to direct patronage one way or the other as an organization. To win over your new prospect, tell him that Mr. So and so has done so and so for the organization, but it must be a fact, not a lie. Then he will not want to be left out and will support you. I think that's good time at 9:40 on the dot. We got just a couple pages left for lesson 21. So next week we will finish lesson 21 and then go over the questions for lesson 21 and probably complete lesson 22 as well. Any questions or comments before we close?
Nah, that was good. Sorry about that, bro.
Excellent job, Brother Art. No, you did great. No comments. I'll run through the attendance, then we'll get out of here.
All right, Brother Art, I think you did a good job too.
Thank you.
very much for reading.
Thank you.
All right, and your book is different from the white one, huh?
Yeah, I don't have any page numbers in here, and I don't know
What does the cover look like?
It looks like the regular cover.
Nah, I was going along with his just fine with my book.
I was too. I was looking at my book and it was fine, but he said that his page ended where ours did not.
Yeah, I got a whole nother page from what John read after mine is stopped.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So your ending at a page is different for you. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. But I think it just sounded like a reprint that was just printed differently, but the wording was accurate.
Yeah, I think it was because mine gives it doesn't give any page numbers. It gives like times, like it's weird.
Okay.
It might have been printed overseas somewhere or something,
That's possible.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay. Was there anybody that came that was not able to stay that anyone remembers, or with just a small group tonight?
No, I think we were a small group. You were the other person. You were in twice.
Okay. Okay. Well, I've got attendance. We can close out, get some rest, and finish up. We got 2 more weeks, and we'll be done.
Okay.
Okay.
So what you gonna do with your free time?
Catch up on my reports.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, all right, we'll close out. Papa James is downstairs, so I'll close us out. If you would, please stand, put your right fist in the air, repeat after me. Wait, I'm about to say the pledge. I'm sorry. One God.
One
God,
One aim.
one aim,
One destiny.
one destiny.
Africa.
Africa.
For the Africans.
For
the
Africans,
Those at home.
Those at home.
And those abroad.
and
those
those abroad.
Race first.
Race first.
One
Thank
piece,
you.
family. Thank you.
Good
See y'all
night,
next week.
family.